Hello everyone, Just Podcast TV is here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified on new contents.
Episode 301. I checked the house first. Zach and Kate slept until noon the next day. The hotel was booked for 3 days, so Zach and Kate booked it for 3 days. They did not leave the hotel until 1 p.m. After finding a taxi driver to bring the local specialties for a tour and filling their stomachs, Zach and Kate began their journey of choosing rooms. For 2 consecutive days, the two of them were either looking at the rooms or looking at the rooms. Kate looked quite satisfied, and Zach did not feel good about it. What kind of room do you want to choose? As for the house, it was more or less enough. I keep feeling that the more you look at it, the more expensive it is. Kate complained softly. She felt that an ordinary house would be fine. However, Zach did not agree. How can this be? How can the house that my wife lives in be ordinary? It absolutely can't be ordinary. Zach always had a way to let Kate unknowingly feel the most considerate care and warmth. After careful selection, they finally chose a house in a villa area near the lake. It could be said that this house was the best location in the villa area. It could view the lake scenery and did not need to withstand the tides near the lake. As the salesperson had said, if it wasn't for the fact that this house is $5,000 per square meter, it would have been booked long ago. This villa was huge to begin with. It was more than 600 square meters, and it was $5,000 per square meter. In total, it was more than $3 million. Although Kate was not short of money, she was still a little unhappy. You think I don't do my research? The price of the same house is different, and the difference is so big. Aren't you afraid that someone will complain? The salesperson knew that he had met an expert. However, they had already thought of a solution since they had the policy. Because this is our boss's private property, he bought it at the beginning of the sales and didn't stay here. So now this suite is a new house, but it is selling the price of a second-hand house. It is not for our company's sales, so the price can't be controlled. Kate was speechless. It could actually be done like this? This was really true. However, she had also learned a trick. This kind of business strategy was largely the same as could be used by herself after a slight conversation. Kate did not say anything more to the salesperson. Instead, she turned to look at Zach. Hubby, let's change it. It's not about the same. There's no need to waste the $3 million. The salesperson also nodded. Sir, actually, I also suggest that you change to another room. Don't misunderstand. I don't mean to discriminate against you at all. The main reason why I said that is, it's because I have a commission for the other rooms. No, it's my boss's private room. I can't refuse to sell it. I don't receive a commission for selling this house, so I sincerely hope that you can change to another house. As he spoke, the salesperson flipped open the information in his hands and compared it with the house in the distance. You see, that house is also not bad. But thinking about it, it made sense. Who would be willing to do something that didn't benefit them? 1/1000th of the commission. So $10 million was $10 million to the realtor. However, Zach had taken a liking to the suite. Time was money, and it was more appropriate for him to have. Therefore, in comparison to the economic benefits, he decided to take down this villa. However, at this moment, another saleswoman came with a client. The client was also a husband and wife, and they were a little older. The two of them were dressed quite well, but they were a little bit out of place. It gave people the feeling that they were trying to show off their wealth. They were wearing mink fur in the summer. Wasn't there something wrong with that? Of course, the couple was trying to appear rich and powerful, despite it being unpractical to wear such flashy clothes in the middle of the summer. Even when the female salesperson had her back to the couple, her eyes couldn't help but reveal a look of disdain. Even if she didn't say anything, Zach could still hear the hidden words in her heart. As expected of a salesperson, she had a unique taste in judging people. When they just entered the villa and saw Zach and Kate, the old woman started to yell, Didn't you book this villa? What do you mean? How can you casually bring some random cats and dogs in? This is our home. What right do you have to bring other people in? What if you dirty our house? What if you know our internal environment is not safe? In the future, if there are any accidents like burglary, what should we do? Can your company take responsibility?" These words were said with a gun and a stick. Not only did she smash the female salesperson, but she also didn't even let Zach and Kate go. Kate wrinkled her delicate brows, but her good character did not allow for her to quarrel or even scold the elderly woman. Zach was even more indifferent. He had seen many blind people. He could not treat all of them. After all, he was not an ophthalmologist. The only way was to treat all of them. The only way was to completely blind the other good eye so that he could keep it dark. However, it was not his turn to speak. That female sales representative answered with a smile. "Miss, you really can't blame us for this. If you pay the deposit, then this house naturally belongs to you. Other people aren't qualified to see it, so we won't bring other customers to see the house. But you didn't pay the deposit. Last time, you said you wanted to go back and talk to your daughter." The old woman was unhappy. "That's right. I already said to talk to my daughter. Isn't this considered settled? Why did you bring other people to look at the house? What about the safety issues? I'll ask you about the safety issues." The saleswoman was helpless, but she still smiled and said, "Madame, let me tell you again. You need to pay a deposit. There's no reason for me to keep the house for you as soon as you say I want it. There's no such thing as this in the world, right? Besides, you didn't say you want it. You just said to go back and discuss it with your daughter." "What? Can't I discuss it? Why are you so overbearing when you sell houses? Can't you even discuss with your clients? Customers are always right. Do you understand? We are your boss, so you have to do anything for us." The saleswoman could not help but laugh, which made the old woman even more unhappy. "What's your attitude?" The saleswoman quickly said, Sorry, I couldn't help it. I couldn't hold it in for a moment longer. But what I want to tell you is that is untrue. The ones who accept this kind of idea are people that don't work in a respectable job. We aim to please the customer as much as is reasonable, but what you ask is not reasonable." The old woman made a big fool of herself. She thought that the realtors worshiped the customers like gods. Instead, they didn't seem to care at all and do anything but please the customer. This only made the old woman angrier and angrier. "I don't care. I want this house. Today, I want you to kick out those idlers. My daughter has plenty of money." The old man next to her was still reasonable. "Isn't it a deposit? Say it. 3,000 or 2,000. We'll pay it." The female sales representative was amused, almost stomping her feet and laughing out loud. She even started to suspect, did they come here to play a betting game? Episode 302, Big Ego. When the old woman first saw the saleswoman laugh again, she was quite angry. She wished she could tear the saleswoman apart with her bare hands. But when she later found out that the deposit cost $300,000, she finally understood why she was laughing. She wanted to book a house worth tens of millions of dollars with just a few $1,000s. That would be too much of a joke. However, the money in her pocket would definitely not allow her to be mocked just like that. The old woman glared at the old man and said, "What are you laughing at? Isn't it just 300,000? We have plenty of money. What my man means is that 300,000 is no different from 3,000 in our eyes." The old man quickly added, "Yes!" The saleswoman was stunned. She did not expect the old woman and the old man to be so rich. However, she didn't want to cause any misunderstandings and cause trouble in the future. She secretly turned on the video recording on her phone. "Sir, Madame, since you have decided to pay the deposit, of course, I welcome you. But there is one thing I must explain to you in advance. Our deposit is to guarantee that we will sign a house purchase contract for a month. and you can take any loan or full payment you want. If you sign a house purchase contract within a month, then these $300,000 will be deducted from your house purchase funds at the same price. For example, if you want to buy this house for $10 million, you only need to pay another $9.7 million. But if you are unable to sign the purchase contract within a month, then these $300,000 will be used as punishment for delaying the sale of the house. We will not refund it. This is not just us. All the real estate dealers are the same. The old woman was very unhappy at that time. Why should we? This is our money. Why don't you return it? The saleswoman was speechless. She thought to herself that she was smart enough to hold back. Otherwise, it would be a huge problem in the future. Just as she was about to explain to the old woman again, Zach, who was beside her, spoke. No need to be so troublesome. We will buy this house. We can pay the deposit right now. Take me back to your real estate office. Zach was very straightforward. He wrapped his arm around Kate's slim waist and was about to leave. He did not have the time to listen to this old lady ramble on. This house belonged to him, not that old lady. However, the old woman seemed to think the same. When she heard Zach's words, she also thought the same. After that, she got angry. Who do you think you are? I have long looked after this house. Why do you want to rob me of this house? If it wasn't for the fact that the other party was an old lady, Zach really wanted to slap her and let her see what kind of annoying trash she really was. But since it was an old lady, he naturally wouldn't make a move. Stopping his steps, Zach said to the old woman, You are by far the most ill-mannered woman I have ever met. Were you a man, this kind of behavior would have gotten you beaten bloody. Be thankful you are a woman, and no man will lay a hand on you despite your horrendous behavior. I can't imagine it is easy to live with such a horrid person. Before the old woman could say anything, the old man was unhappy. What are you going to do if you want to hit someone? It's your fault. Back when I was out adventuring, you were not even born yet, little wall brat. I will turn you upside down. The salespeople present were all stunned. They did not expect that this old man was still a figure. But Kate sneered. Zach even more rudely mocked. It's fine if you pretend to be a big, strong man. Lord knows, you can't do it at home. I bet the most you've said in the past 20 years is, Yes, dear, because you're a weak, pathetic man. Zach's words immediately woke up the two salespeople. The old man was very embarrassed. He originally thought that he should pretend to be a wall. But he did not think that he would be a bad person at all. However, he had heard Zach's words clearly. The woman did not understand what he said, but the man did. He was so angry that he almost pouted. He angrily stepped forward and was about to attack. However, he realized that Zach did not retreat, nor did anyone pull him. After taking 2 steps forward, he felt a little awkward. He could only pretend that his waist hurt again. The old man, who was holding his waist, cried out in pain. He even took some time to say, If it wasn't for my waist not feeling well today, I would have beaten you to death, little brat! The words, little brat, made Zach's heart burn with anger. This old man was pretending to be old, and he didn't dare to teach him a lesson, right? With anger burning in his heart, Zach returned to the villa. When he found the male salesperson who brought him here, Zach said, I will give you $10,000 commission per person. Give me the company's account number. I will pay the deposit now. Get these two out of my house. This is my home. The salesperson did not do anything. He had picked up a $10,000 commission just to watch the fun. He was so happy that he was farting in his heart. Originally, he didn't have any motivation. Now, he wished he could step on the accelerator and do it for Zach. Sir, don't worry, I will do it. As he spoke, he did not delay the male salesperson from taking out his phone to call the company, asking for his account number and instructing them to prepare the contract. In less than a minute, the account was sent over. Zach took out his phone and was about to transfer the money. The old woman and the old man were very unhappy. This house belongs to us. Why should we sell it to him? Why should we? You are not allowed to sell it. The female salesperson also came over at this moment. However, she was not helping her client, but helping her colleague. Whether it was selling houses or cars, she relied on the help of her colleagues. If you push me, I'll take care of it. Although there was competition, at the crucial moment, she could still distinguish between outsiders. The female salesperson stopped the two of them. Sir, madame, I'll tell you one last time. The house already has a deposit on it and an offer to buy it outright. If you do not vacate, I will call the police and have you removed. The words, call the police and have you removed, shocked the old woman and the old man. The old couple was no longer being unreasonable. But the next moment, the old woman said, I can also pay the deposit first. Why should he pay first? I will pay first. I will look at the house first. The saleswoman did not know what to say. She could not stop anyone from paying the deposit to the house first. The saleswoman was equally anxious. She was getting a commission of $10,000. She quickly nudged Zach's arm and signaled him to transfer the money quickly. However, Zach was not in a hurry. It's fine. Let them transfer the money first. Didn't they come earlier? Let them transfer first. Zach did not believe that the old couple added up to more than $110. They didn't even use cell phones to transfer money. It was indeed so. The old woman said, I will not use my phone to transfer money, but I will use the bank to transfer money. Let's go to the bank. Zach said with a laugh, Then you have to run faster. My phone will transfer the money in a few seconds. The old woman was anxious at that time. You are cheating! You are not following the rules. I will sue you in court. Zach asked curiously, What do you want to sue me for? You want to sue me for using my phone to transfer money? The old woman was stunned and did not know what to do. At this time, it was the old man's turn to appear. You little rascal! You old fart! Do you believe that if you don't keep your mouth shut, I will beat your shit out? I don't care about you, and you won't stop. Try saying one more line. See if the ambulance will drag you to the emergency room or send you to the morgue. The old man was stunned and did not dare to make a sound. He could tell that Zach really wanted to beat him up. Episode 303. Be careful with your words. Under the threat of Zach's violence, the old man no longer dared to speak. But at this time, the old woman had the ability again. She directly sat on the ground and slapped her hands on the ground to make a fool of herself. Bullying people! Your company is hooking up with them to bully people. They won't let us pay the deposit. They won't sell the house to us. And they even join forces to attack us. Reporters, come on! Come on! Hurry up and expose them! It was a hot topic on the internet. It was a saying. It's not that the old people have become bad. It's that the bad people have become old. Kate, who was as kind as she used to be, did not understand. After seeing these two people today, she really did not understand. He relied on his old age to play the old man. He was full of nonsense. He acted shamelessly and didn't use any kind methods at all. She couldn't understand how a person could lose all their face at such an old age. When her delicate face was filled with anger, Zach smiled at her. You can't expect everyone to have the same quality as you. If that's the case, then people won't be divided into despicable and kind people. After persuading Kate, Zach looked at the old woman who was sitting on the ground. I asked you to pay the deposit. If you can't pay it, you have to go back to the bank. The old woman said, I'll give you a chance now. Pay the full amount. Zach turned his head to look at the male salesman. counting it. How much is the full amount? When the male salesman heard Zach being so straightforward, he quickly checked the information. Then he said to Zach, 12.7 million. But I can give you a discount on my own accord, 12.5 million. He meant a discount on his own, but he was definitely within the range of the boss's permission to freely lower the price. However, Zach was too lazy to care about this matter. He turned to look at the old woman and said, Go and pay. I'll accompany you to the bank. It's up to you to pay up in half an hour. I'll pay up when it's been half an hour. The old woman was stunned. How could she have that much money? There were millions of dollars in the bank, but the real money to buy the house was with her daughter. Her daughter said she would only be back the day after tomorrow, but she paid the rest. Now, it was better to change it to the full payment. Where could she get $12.5 million? This old couple really took turns to fight. Once the old woman did not say anything, the old man quickly made up for it. But just as he grinned and was about to say something, Zach raised his arm and pointed at him. Don't hum. If you snore again, it will not look good. His voice wasn't loud, but the old man could clearly feel that Zach wasn't trying to scare him. The key was that his promising daughter had given him some confidence. In front of someone who was also rich, it meant nothing. In the end, the old man and his wife sat on the ground and started to make jokes. Zach sneered and ignored them. He directly transferred over $12.5 million. The male salesperson quickly led Zach and Kate away like a grandpa and a grandma. At the same time, he did not forget to say to the female salesperson, Hurry up and take these two old people away. They are now in someone else's house. If they don't want to leave, call the police and detain them for trespassing. The female salesperson was even more straightforward. She immediately made a phone call. Hello, 911. Although she didn't press the number, this fake action still scared the old couple to get up. The old woman glared fiercely at the female sales representative, then looked at Zach with a face full of resentment. Just you wait! When my daughter comes back, I will let her deal with you! How dare you rob our house! Ah, shameless! Zach, who is this? Shameless! Kate, who was beside him, could not help but say, Madame, I advise you to follow the rules and go somewhere else to look for a house. Don't let your daughter come looking for trouble again. Otherwise, she won't even be able to protect herself. This was not a threat. This was a powerful declaration that was full of confidence. But the old woman did not think so. She felt that Kate was putting up a wall. She had some unpleasant words and even said that when her daughter comes back, she would definitely find the two of them to settle the score. Zach held Kate's waist and left. Let her daughter come. She won't be willing to die without dragging her daughter down. With the male salesperson accompanying them, Zach and Kate left. The female salesperson immediately locked the villa's door and prepared to leave. But before she left, she still smiled and said, You guys have also seen this house. Be careful about safety and the like. Otherwise, if the things in this house are stolen, you are the suspects. The old woman was unhappy at that time. Why? Why did you wrongfully accuse us? She waved enthusiastically at the two of them, and the saleswoman also left. Although this old couple was also a potential customer, she really didn't want to receive such a difficult customer. It was too troublesome. She couldn't just ignore this kind of thing. The more she talked about it, the more excited she got. It was a headache. Therefore, the simplest way was not to earn their money and not to take a share of the money. It was even more enjoyable to scold them a few times. The old woman was extremely unhappy that she was scolded by Zach and by the female salesperson. She took out her phone and made a call. Sweetie, come back quickly. Your father and I are going to be beaten to death. That bad man is even stronger. Oh my, I can't even say it. Anyway, come back quickly. We've been bullied. Zach did not know who was the one who did not open his eyes to force the old woman. He only knew that the boss of the sales office was very enthusiastic. He made tea and smiled. He was even more enthusiastic and asked if he wanted another set. The sales manager only said this half politely and half jokingly. Who would have thought that Zach and Kate would really think about it? We can't let those two old people stay in the dormitory, right? This is not suitable. Kate nodded. With the two of them, it is also because of their contributions that the company was able to develop to this day. The two of them spoke one word at a time. Then Zach decided, come, give me 2 more sets. It was only after Zach chose 2 more sets and paid the full amount that the sales manager came back to his senses. He really came to buy it. It was the same as sending his grandfather and grandmother. All the salespeople who did not receive customers followed the sales manager out and respectfully sent Zach and Kate off. After that, everyone started to speak with envy. This is true wealth. Look at how people buy houses on a whim. I can barely afford to go out shopping for clothes on my day off. They are all women? Why is there such a huge gap between the husbands they find? Last night, I was still struggling for a pair of shoes that are worth $200 and $400. My husband chose a pair of shoes that are worth $200 and helped me choose a pair of shoes that are worth $200. It's said that other people's children are good, but other people's husbands are really good. It must be the second generation, the kind that wastes money for their inheritance. One day, they will be even poorer than us. Scram to the side. I have made the registration for him. He is the chairman of the Dream Group, and his assets are worth billions of dollars. You idiot! Even pulling a hair off his leg is better than anything you can do. There will be a day when he will be poorer than you. Why do you have such a big face? Episode 304. The Sky Changed. Having money allows one to do things much faster. It greases the wheel of any bureaucratic system. On the second day, all kinds of business documents were processed under the guidance of the salesperson at the real estate office. Just the property tax alone was a big deal, but it was nothing to Zach. The next afternoon, Zach went to the most expensive and professional interior design company in the country. He heard that they were going to renovate and design 3 high-end villas at once. The design company also attached great importance to how they conducted their business. They sent 2 teams of designers to follow behind Zach and accompany him to see the house design and choose the best ones. Kate led the 2 teams of designers to plan the design and renovation of the villa, while Zach sat at the entrance of the villa and smoked. He did not care what the villa looked like, as long as Kate was happy. But just as he was smoking, an accident happened. The accident did not come from Kate and the villa, but from the aggressive family of 3 that wanted to buy the house previously. The 2 of them were the old couple, who made a fool of themselves yesterday, and someone was squeezed in the middle by the old couple. That should be their daughter. Her long hair was fluttering in the wind, and she had a nice figure. She even wore sunglasses and a black mask. She looked like a superstar. When they got closer, the old woman pointed angrily at Zach. It's him! He bared his fangs and brandished his claws, wanting to hit your father. He even threatened me, saying that he wanted to find someone to hurt me. Daughter, this person is a beast. You have to avenge your mother. Her daughter also seemed to have a bad temper. She raised her doll-like arm and pointed angrily at Zach. You still dare to beat up my father and bully my mother? You really have guts. Why don't you take a look at who I am? As she spoke, Zach replied with a laugh. You covered it so tightly. I really can't tell who you are. I can't guess. Do you think I'm here to argue with you? After cursing, the old woman's daughter instructed the bodyguards behind her, "Beat him up! Beat him up! And make him kneel down first!" That bodyguard was very powerful. He was nearly 2 meters tall and strong. At first glance, it looked like a hippopotamus had stood on 2 legs and was pretending to be a human. There was even a ponytail on his head. If not for that suit on his body, he would really look like a beast or some heavyweight wrestling star. Zack flicked the ash from his cigarette and said to the old woman's daughter, "Surely there is no need for that kind of behavior. I think it's better to be reasonable. After all, we are all civilized people." "I'll talk about your logic, Big Bear. Are you deaf? Beat him up!" As the old woman's daughter angrily rebuked him, the bodyguard called Big Bear rushed forward. With one step, he landed on the ground, and a large amount of dust flew into the air. It really felt like a hippopotamus running, extremely sturdy. Moreover, as he charged toward Zack, he had an incomparable momentum, and his explosive power gave people the feeling that a mountain flood had erupted. The daughter turned her head to look at her parents and said with a cold smile, "This person is called Big Bear, a bodyguard I spent a high price to favor. A year is a few million, and he's very capable. He once knocked down a wild tiger barehanded. If this kid were to be..." With a bang, it was as if a large bag of cement had been thrown to the ground, causing a large amount of dust to fly up. Her daughter choked on it, but she was still unable to conceal her shock, because she discovered that Big Bear was already lying on the ground, looking as if it had died. How did it end up like this? It was only for a moment. She hadn't noticed earlier. She had been bragging to her parents just now, so how could she have seen the giant bear? She felt that Zack would probably refrain from beating him up a bit. It was also not too late to watch Zack get beaten up after bragging to her parents. Who would have thought that Big Bear would fall down and lie on the ground before she could even finish talking? There was no movement at all under her feet. She was wearing a short skirt, and now that the bear was lying at her feet, she was furious. After taking half a step back, she lifted her high heels and kicked the bear. "Hurry up and get up! Don't pretend to be dead!" There was no movement. No matter how fierce her kick was, the super bodyguard she hired with a salary of several million a year just didn't move. Squatting down to help Big Bear take off his sunglasses, she realized he was knocked unconscious. Wendy Hart was stunned. This was completely different from what she had expected. She felt that Zack would stop beating him up a bit, but this was too much. He directly beat up Big Bear, causing him to lie unconscious on the ground. Zack took the cigarette from his mouth and said teasingly, "I said that we are all civilized people. There is no need to fight, but seeing as you want to beat me up, it is only fair that I do the same. What should we do next? Which one should we beat up? Choose." Wendy Hart was embarrassed. The bear was knocked down in one move, even after she was bragging about his strength and how much he cost annually. However, they still had to maintain their face when they came to kill him in a fit of rage. The daughter took off her mask and revealed her scarlet mouth. After taking a deep breath, she said to Zack, "The house is not worth 12.5 million. I'll give you 13 million. Get lost immediately." Zack said, "Who are you? You don't look very rich, but you spend money like it is nothing. 500,000 added to the total value with a wave of your hand." "Nonsense! My daughter has plenty of money. Her money is enough to smash you all to death. All her movies gross hundreds of millions of dollars. Do you think they pay the lead actress no less than a few million per film?" Old woman sighed, was pleased with herself. Zack's side came to a realization. "Are you an actor? Come, let me see who you are." Zack signaled Wendy Hart, who had filmed movies worth millions of dollars, to take off her glasses but she did not take them off. Zach said with a smile, "If you don't take them off, do you believe that I will catch your father and beat him to death?" As soon as he said this, the old man, who was originally quite arrogant and proud, subconsciously took 2 steps back. His daughter, who was threatened, had no choice but to take off her sunglasses. Zach really did not know who this actress was. However, he didn't know anyone, but her parents did. At this time, the old woman proudly opened her mouth and said, "My daughter, my biological daughter whom I gave birth to, Wendy Hart, famous movie star." She was afraid that people would forget that she was Wendy Hart's mother. There were all kinds of prefixes and descriptions. However, Zach felt that one sentence was enough. "After saying so much, can't you just directly say that she is your daughter?" With just one sentence, the old woman's face turned pale. After thinking for a long time, she did not know how to reply to this hooligan sentence. Wendy Hart was furious at that time. "Be careful when you speak. Speak a bit more civilized," Zach said. "At this time, it's time to think of civilization. Why didn't I see your civilization when I first saw you? You were scolding me." Wendy Hart's face also turned pale from the scolding. Since she had already shown her face, she naturally could not do vulgar words and behave poorly anymore. After all, she was a celebrity. Regarding this, she had to pay more attention to it. Taking a deep breath, Wendy Hart said again, 15 million. I don't want to talk nonsense with you. Take 15 million and get lost." Zach flicked away the cigarette butt, then stood up and patted his butt. He walked to Wendy Hart and said, "You are very rich?" Wendy Hart felt a little scared when she saw Zach looking down at her from such a close distance. However, the identity of a big star did not allow her to show her fear at such a time, so she performed her essential work and performance. With a sarcastic smile on her face, she replied, "Not much. I believe that it should be enough to smash you to death with my money." Zach suddenly understood. "Oh, so that's how it is. All right, then I'll take as much as I can, and we will see if you can match my lavish price."